They called it a transition conversation. No subject line, just that. Like a passive-aggressive threat in email form. I got the calendar invite at 10:14 a.m. for a 10:30 chat in HR. No warning, no context. Just enough time to feel the pit start to burn in my stomach. 9 years with that company, 9. And this was how it was going to go down. I walked into the glass box they call a conference room and saw the whole setup laid out like a funeral. Mine. Cynthia from HR was already seated, folder open, voice trembling just a bit as she read directly off a script. Every sentence sounded like she was choking on corporate buzzwords. Due to organizational restructuring, effective immediately, we thank you for your contributions. To her left, some guy from legal I didn't recognize, just standing there like a houseplant in a suit. Didn't say a word, just blinked. And there was Miles, my new VP. Slick hair, shiny watch, one hand on the wall like he was posing for a damn headshot. He didn't even pretend to look upset, just smirked. That smug little twist in the corner of his mouth made everything else in the room disappear. They didn't even offer me a box, no handshake, no eye contact, just a printed memo and a verbal note that security would escort me out shortly. I didn't speak, not one word. I nodded like a good little soldier, kept my face blank, and stood up calm as hell. Let them think I was folding. While you're listening, tell us which country you're watching from. I walked straight back to my office, past people who wouldn't meet my eyes, stepped around the IT guy who was already halfway under my desk, yanking cords. My email was gone, my calendar wiped, my Slack access revoked mid-stride. They moved fast. Team reassigned, permissions pulled. Hell, I didn't even get to finish my coffee. But here's the thing. They moved so fast, they forgot one detail. That bottom right drawer in my desk, still locked. Inside was a folder they never asked for. A lease, my signature, my LLC. 3 years ago, in the middle of a panic, I bailed this company out with a move they barely even remembered. But I remembered. I kept the paperwork, the receipts, the ownership. So, while they were scrubbing me from the org chart, they forgot to check the deed. I picked up my coat, slipped the folder inside, and walked out. Didn't look back. I had no job, no login, no email, but I still held the keys. I didn't go home right away. I drove around the block a few times, windows down, folder on the passenger seat like a sleeping bomb. That lease was still in my name. 3 years back, we were days away from losing the old space. The landlord wanted us gone. Building sold, no extension. Legal dragged their feet. Ops didn't move fast enough. And we had maybe 72 hours to find a new home for the entire Westlake hub. I found the building, I toured it on a Sunday, signed the lease that Monday. But here's the part they forgot. I signed it through my personal LLC, Westridge Holdings. It wasn't a secret, I told them at the time. We'll reassign it once legal's back on their feet. I even CC'd the damn memo, put it in writing. They just never did it. Why? Because once we moved in and everything was up and running, nobody wanted to deal with the paperwork. They assumed it had been handled. And Miles, he was too busy showing off numbers he didn't earn and handing out fake smiles like party favors. So, when they kicked me out yesterday, they assumed the building was theirs. Except it wasn't. It was mine, technically, legally, contractually. I went home, poured a drink, and waited. By the time I woke up, my phone was already buzzing. Chuck from building security was the first to call. Hey, sorry to bother you. Did something change on the access system? Yup, I said. Building's under lockdown. No tenant access until further notice. Pause. Got it, Chuck said. You want me on site? Yup. He hung up, no questions asked. Chuck always liked me. I treated his team like real people. The company treated them like shadows. I grabbed the folder from my desk, flipped to the lease page, and stared at my signature, my name, my LLC, right there in black ink. They could erase my profile from the staff directory all they wanted, but they didn't realize my name was still etched into the deed. Just after 7, emails started coming in. Kelsey from Ops, someone from IT, even procurement. Having issues with the network? None of our team can badge in. Are we still receiving vendor access today? No one seemed to know why everything was failing. Lights were off. Entry panels flashed red. The main doors wouldn't respond to badges. HVAC offline. I even heard the Wi-Fi went down. That one made me laugh. The servers were tied into contracts I signed, not the company, me. Everything was mine on paper, from janitorial to fiber internet to vending machines. It wasn't sabotage, it was silence. No one had noticed the trap they built themselves into. They just stepped in it blind. At 7:42, Chuck texted me a photo. Miles standing outside the front doors, face scrunched, phone in hand, trying to badge in. Locked out. A few minutes later, another photo. The coffee truck parked out front, confused, waiting. I texted Chuck. Hold the line, no entry, no deliveries. He texted back. Roger that. By 8:30, a ripple started moving through the vendors. I got calls from the elevator contractor, the cleaning crew, even the guy who does fire suppression. They all still had my number. My name was still on every invoice. Hey, is this a scheduled maintenance day? No, I said. It's a transition day. At 7:08 a.m., my phone rang again. No caller ID, just unknown. I let it go once, then twice. On the third buzz, I picked up. Hi, this is Jeremy. I'm with corporate legal. We have a situation with the Westlake lease. He was whispering like he didn't want anyone hearing him. There's some confusion over ownership, he said. Confusion? I asked like I didn't already know. You mean the part where Westridge Holdings, a single-member LLC owned by me, holds the lease? Silence. Because that's what the contract says. I'm looking at it right now. He let out this weak breath. That wasn't flagged in our systems. No kidding, I said. Maybe check the memo I sent 3 years ago. Subject line, temporary lease agreement, action required. Another pause. I imagine him scrolling his inbox, sweating through his tie. I see it. Here, sent to Miles. And legal ops. Correct. No one followed up. No one reassigned the lease. Jeremy's voice dropped even lower. This could trigger a major liability. Yep, I said, popping the P. And not just legal, operational. I control the HVAC, the fire systems, the vendor codes, and the maintenance contracts. Oh, and the building access system. Every piece of that infrastructure runs through Westridge. He didn't speak. I could hear people in the background. Muffled voices, phones ringing. Someone yelled, badge servers still down. Jeremy, I said, you sound new, so let me make this simple. That building's not under your control anymore. If you want access, you need to talk to me, and I'll need to see an agenda. He thanked me and hung up like he was about to puke. Meanwhile, my phone wouldn't shut up. Vendor after vendor called. Janitorial, landscaping, security, fiber, coffee. Most of them still had me listed as the primary contact, because no one at corporate ever updated anything. The Westlake hub wasn't just dark. It was blind and deaf. At 7:32, I texted Chuck. Me. Maintain lockdown until further notice. Chuck. Roger that. By 7:45, facilities tried to force a door override using the manual keypads. Didn't work. I'd replaced the panels after a break-in scare 2 years back. Changed the admin codes. Told ops. No one documented it. By 8:00, someone tried cutting power to reboot the servers. Lights blinked off, came back on. Then, everything bricked. HVAC rebooted into lockdown mode. Alarms triggered, then nothing. Dead silence. Chuck called again at 8:20. Miles tried to badge in again. Got a little loud with the team. Said he's calling HQ. He can call whoever he wants, I said. No access until I say otherwise. Chuck chuckled. He looks pissed. Good. I stayed off social, stayed quiet. Didn't post a thing. Let them sweat. Let them scramble. They were realizing it in real time, how deeply they'd screwed themselves. Every tech asset, every vendor, every delivery, every badge swipe, they all tied back to contracts I'd signed personally. And all those times they ignored me, dismissed me, skipped me in meetings like I was just the operations guy. Now, they were stuck in a building they didn't own, couldn't enter, and had no idea how to run. I made some coffee, sat by the window, and waited for the next call. I didn't need to make threats. I had the lease. They had assumptions, and assumptions don't unlock doors. By 9:30, the inside chaos started leaking out. Turns out the building VPN was tied to a static IP address. Not just that, it was locked into an internal DNS setup that I configured 2 years ago, after IT screwed up a firmware push and wiped the routers. They never fixed it, never transitioned it, because I did the work, and they assumed they'd just keep coasting on it. Now, the whole system thought the building didn't exist. At 9:42, Kelsey pinged me again. Kelsey, why is it asking if you still control the servers? I stared at the message for a second, then replied, me, because I do. She didn't respond, didn't have to. Then came the calls, one after another. Vendor support for signage, fiber, HVAC, the AV contractor, even the window cleaners. At 10 sharp, a guy named Jay from SignPro called, voice shaky. Hey, we're scheduled for routine signage maintenance today. Just confirming, do we pause all activity? Yes, I said, indefinitely. Do we bill the company? No, hold the invoice. Westridge Holdings will issue revised terms. Copy that. At 10:12, I checked the badge logs remotely. Still had admin access. Miles had tried 5 more times to badge in. Used 2 different cards. One was expired. The other was probably cloned off someone from IT. They were getting desperate. By 10:20, I got a call from a blocked number. Didn't answer. Then another and another. I knew they wouldn't email me. Not yet. Too risky. Too traceable. But I could feel the shift. This wasn't just a tech issue anymore. This was liability. The IT team had finally figured out they couldn't access their own gear. No remote login, no badge access, no credentials. Everything routed through a switch cabinet locked behind a reinforced door I had installed after a break-in scare. I changed the entry codes the day after that break-in, never shared them again. They were locked out of their own infrastructure because nobody thought to ask how it was actually built. They assumed ops just happened. They assumed wrong. At 10:45, I opened Outlook, typed one line to the legal alias. Subject, building access and operational control body. Happy to discuss. Please send an agenda and attendee list. My counsel will be present. Then I hit send and went back to my coffee. No emotion, no panic, no threats, just pressure. The email came in that afternoon, not from legal, not from HR, from Miles himself. Subject, let's be adults about this. The message was short, informal, written like he was trying to play buddy again. Hey, no hard feelings. Let's grab coffee and talk this through. No apology, no explanation. Just that casual tone he used when he wanted something. I stared at it for a full minute, then forwarded it to Diane, my lawyer. She wrote back one line. Let's schedule the meeting. We picked the spot, a neutral place downtown, bright, public, impossible for him to fake control. Miles showed up 10 minutes early, trying to look relaxed. Rolled up sleeves, expensive watch, fake smile. He stood when he saw me, hand half out for a shake. I didn't take it. Diane didn't even look up from her folder. Appreciate you coming, he said, pulling out a chair for himself. I just want to clear the air, find a fair resolution. Fair, I repeated. Sure. He gave a little laugh, like we were old friends sharing an inside joke. Things got heated. Miscommunication, maybe. You've made your point. Let's talk next steps. Diane leaned forward. We're listening. He reached into his briefcase and slid an envelope across the table. Gold seal. Company letterhead. This is a one-time offer, he said. Clean payout. 6 figures. We'll call it goodwill. I didn't touch it. Neither did Diane. She opened her folder instead and laid the original lease flat on the table. The paper made a sharp sound against the wood, the kind of sound that made Miles's smile twitch. She flipped to the last section and tapped the page with her pen. Penalty clause, she said. 6 months payout plus all associated fees if the leaseholder is terminated or operations disrupted without written reassignment. Miles frowned. Wait, what clause? This one, she said. Section 23, subsection D. He leaned over the document like he was seeing it for the first time. His face started to drain. Diane kept talking, calm and surgical. Given the timing and the current building access issues, we're estimating total exposure in the mid-6-figure range, not including the operational downtime you're currently experiencing. Miles blinked fast, throat working like he was trying to swallow nails. We didn't know about that clause. I looked him dead in the eye. You signed the lease. He opened his mouth, closed it again. Diane slid the buyout envelope back toward him without a word. He didn't reach for it. The silence stretched until it felt like we were sitting in a vacuum. Then I stood up. Meeting over, I said. Next time, read your inbox. I started for the door. Diane followed, sliding the lease back into her folder. Behind us, Miles finally spoke. You're making a mistake. You think this helps you? I turned, hand on the door. It already has. Outside, the air felt clean, sharp. We walked 2 blocks without saying a word. Diane finally looked over. He's panicking. Good, I said. He should be. She smiled, small and controlled. You ready for them to call again? They will. They always do when the bluff fails. I checked my phone. 4 missed calls from blocked numbers, 1 new email from legal. The subject line read, Urgent Leaseholder Discussion Request. I smiled and put my phone away. They wanted to talk again. Of course they did. By the next morning, it all started to crack wide open. Internal memos leaked fast. First one hit my inbox from a buddy in finance. No subject line. Just, you need to see this. Attached was a board-level thread with the subject, Urgent, Lease Approval Chain, Immediate Review Required. One line stood out, Who the hell approved this lease? Answer, Miles. His name was right there on the scanned signature page, date stamped, no ambiguity. Apparently, someone had finally gone digging through the archives. Not because they wanted to, because the board demanded blood. At 8:26 a.m., Diane texted me. I've been asked to join an emergency board call. I'll keep you posted. 2 hours later, she called. No pleasantries, just, they're in full-blown crisis mode. The phrase they used on the call? De-risking regional dependencies. Corporate speak for, we lit our own house on fire. Then the HR memo went out company-wide. I didn't even have access anymore and still saw it within 5 minutes. Screenshot from another friend, this time in ops. Effective immediately, Miles T. is stepping away from all regional duties pending an internal review. Translation? They threw him under the bus so fast his sneakers were probably still spinning. And right behind that memo, I got another email. This one from a senior VP I'd never met, never even heard of. Subject, Request for Discussion. Body, please contact me at your earliest convenience regarding operational structure and lease-related matters. Now they wanted to talk. Now they were ready to acknowledge I existed. Diane looped back in that afternoon. She'd sent them the full email chain from 3 years ago, the one with the original lease memo. CC'd legal, CC'd ops, included all the auto responses from Miles's account. They had their smoking gun. Miles ignored it back then, treated me like noise. Now that chain was stapled into a binder and passed around the boardroom like a court exhibit. I pulled up QuickBooks, exported every vendor ledger tied to Westridge Holdings, and highlighted them. 67 active contracts, janitorial, landscaping, elevator maintenance, security, HVAC, fiber, toilets, lights, Wi-Fi. Every single one still billed through me. Not the company. They had no power, no air, no internet, because they'd let one guy handle the backbone and never asked for a backup. I sent Diane the spreadsheet. She forwarded it to the SVP. 5 minutes later, my phone lit up with a new message. Please confirm your availability for a call tomorrow. I didn't reply, not right away. Let it sit. Let them feel it. I'd played every card by the book. No stunts, no hacks, just receipts. And now, the same people who wiped my name off the staff list were scrambling to find it on a lease they didn't read. At exactly noon, my phone rang. Caller ID, Bridget Langley, EVP, Corporate Ops. I let it buzz once, twice, then picked up. No pleasantries, no introductions, just this. What would it take to acquire Westridge Holdings? Her voice was flat, no hesitation, no flattery. That told me everything. They weren't here to negotiate. They were here to close. I didn't waste her time. Full acquisition, I said. Westridge Holdings LLC. Building, systems, vendor rights, clean transfer of all operational contracts. Fine, she said. Continue. 3-year bonus payout, tied to your executive performance tiers. Same formula you use for senior comp. Understood. Written board acknowledgement of my role in the creation and continuity of the Westlake Hub, signed and dated. She paused for half a second. Language can be drafted. Go on. Optional 60-day consulting retainer, remote. My terms, no meetings, no PR. Hourly cap, no cap. Another pause. Got it. She didn't argue, didn't flinch. No, let me run that by legal. No, can we revisit the bonus piece? Nothing. Just efficient silence. I waited. She exhaled once. You'll have a draft by end of day. Then she hung up. Diane was sitting across from me when it happened. She raised one eyebrow. They're done playing, I said. Then we're done waiting. We got lunch, burgers and fries. Sat in the park, barely talked. No one bothered us. I checked my phone maybe 3 times. Nothing yet. Not that I was worried. At 3:45 p.m., Diane's phone buzzed. She scanned the screen, nodded once, then opened her laptop, forwarded it to me. Subject: Acquisition Agreement, Westridge Holdings. From Legal Counsel, Corporate HQ. I opened the doc, 72 pages, readable, clean, no traps. Clause 1, Full Asset Transfer. Clause 4, Bonus Payout Index to Exec-Level Comp Tiers, 3-year term. Clause 6, Board Acknowledgement included as exhibit. Clause 9, Optional Retainer, 0 cap, 60 days, at will. No edits, no red lines, no delay tactics. They didn't want a debate. They wanted this over, fast and quiet. Diane looked at me. You good with it? Yeah, I said. Let's close it. By 4:10, she'd replied. Subject line, confirmed. Please initiate final docs. They knew they'd lost the second they asked me what it would take. They were never going to win this. Not once they realized I hadn't touched a damn thing outside of protocol. No revenge, no destruction. Just ironclad paperwork they had signed and ignored. At 4:47, the second email came in. Wire transfer instructions, legal attachments, courier confirmation, all lined up. The whole company, their image, their infrastructure, their Westlake footprint, had been reduced to one building. And that building was mine. I didn't rub it in. Didn't need to. The silence on their side said enough. We went to the bank that morning. Small branch, quiet. Diane handled the paperwork. I just stood there and watched the screen. Wire transfer cleared in under 2 minutes. 6 figures, instant, final, no calls, no delays, no second thoughts. They wanted it done, buried, sealed. An hour later, the courier arrived. Black car, leather binder, corporate logo on the flap. He didn't say a word, just handed it over and left. Inside was the final settlement packet. Signatures from 6 board members, corporate seal, formal language. Diane flipped through until she found it. Page 17, 3rd paragraph. We acknowledge my name as the foundational architect of the Westlake Hub. That was it. No adjectives, no fluff. Just one sharp sentence in black ink. It wasn't a compliment, it was a confession. They didn't thank me, they didn't celebrate me, they paid me. We walked out without a word. Binder tucked under my arm like a receipt. On the way back, we drove past the building. Westlake Hub, gleaming like nothing had ever gone wrong. New banners, fresh signage. Lights on, parking lot full again. Lobby was spotless, looked staged, like a set. Right in the middle was a giant quote on the glass wall. Mine. 3 years ago, I said it in a budget meeting, trying to convince ops to approve the move. The goal isn't space, it's capability. They printed it in 18-inch lettering, no name under it, of course not. But I didn't care, I didn't need attribution. They didn't inherit my legacy, they bought it. And not just the words, the locks, the lights, the servers, the systems, all of it. They paid for what they tried to erase, with interest. I dropped Diane off, drove home, parked, and pulled out that folder. The one they never asked about. Still locked, still exactly where it had been from the start. I opened it, empty now, just a nameplate, some dust, and the original envelope I'd used to stash the lease. That was all it took. Not revenge, not rage, just leverage. And a little patience. What would you have done if you were in my position? Taken the buyout or let the company burn? Drop your answer in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories like this.